It's Wednesday, April 23rd. Let's level up. Market was able to continue the rally today, but did run into resistance and did see a pullback after a morning pop. Keep an eye on the VIX here. Very simple. It's got to stay below 29.57, and if you want to extend that to 30.29, which is high of day, that's fine. Anything below 28.32, I think it does keep 24.80 to 23.76 in play. But if we do get back up over and stay up over 29.57 and really over that 30.29 high of day, we could make a move back up to the 34.77 level. With regard to the ES and the NQ, we stalled right just below 5,500. Pulled back. I think the bulls here need to clear 54.81 to 5,500. If they can, the next big resistance comes in at 55.3375 to 55.5975. After that, the key levels are 56.1075, 57.20, and then the full Monty up to 58.37 quarter. But let's not put the cart before the horse. On the downside, the obvious pullback level would be to the 53.40 and the gap fill to 53.14 half. As far as the Qs go, they also ran into resistance. Bulls there will need to get up over and stay up over 18,976.75. If we want to be tougher graders, we could just say 19,000. After that, obviously, high of day is the first resistance point at 19,165 half. And then there is a band of resistance between 19,250 and 19,372 half. If that clears, the next big resistance is 19,845 quarter, but I think they'd run for the 20K. On the downside, obvious next levels of support are 18,504 half and the gap fill to 18,359. As far as SPY goes, got up into resistance. The 544.28 actually had a bit of a move above. We didn't hold it, and the bulls really are in show me state here because they're going to need to hold and stay over the 20 MA. Actually had a bit of a close below it, and we are trading a little below there in the after hours. 536.58. Anything above that, I think, is sideways to higher. Below, I think, puts the gap fill into play at 527.25. Maybe a retest of suspension day VWAP at 524.28. And if we matriculated down to the higher range low, that would be 509.32. On the upside, the bulls will need to clear 549.68 and hold. If they can do that, I think they could fill in the 4-2 gap to 565.52. Qs are very similar. They did hold the 20 MA, but just barely. Anything below low of day at 452.88, I think, does fill in the gap to 444.48. Anything that can hold over the 20 MA, and let's just say the 38.2 for good measure, at 455.27, I think sees 466.43 to 471.60, and probably does get the 4-2 gap fill at 476.15, and then we'll see. Netflix reported earnings. It got a retest of the old high at 1,064 half and has now pulled back twice. We have a dubstep setup here. It could just be bull flagging, but for good measure, I think you could use 1,032 as a raised stop. If you want to try it short below there, you can with a stop above the close at 1,049.59. Anything below there and anything below 1024, I think, could retest the 999 level, and then we would reevaluate then. LRCX getting a bit of a pop in the after hours, although these gains don't seem to be holding all that well. We got to move up to the 71.48, which is key resistance, and it pulled back. Bulls will need to clear 71.48 to 71.66. On the downside, if they lose 66.66, I think there could be a larger pullback, maybe even all the way back down to the 63.36 level. Texas Instruments, pretty nice pop. It is kind of holding, but it does need to clear and stay over 163.80. And for good measure, we can say the after hours high at 165s. On the downside, the 150.88 is the 2-day anchor VWAP. Amazon had a nice run today, but did pull back. That's been on my radar for a while. That needs to get back up over and stay up over the 20 MA. If not, the risk is still lower, 182.80 plus. And for good measure, we could say 187.39. We know the 188.65 was the old 713.21 high, which did hold for quite a while. On the downside, we could easily fill in that gap to 173.18. On the upside, 192.38, and I think the 200-ish level will pose some resistance if we do make the pop still higher. Google did get a close over the 20 MA, but must hold. Anything below low of day at 153.81, I think could be a short. On the upside, the 50 MA is the next resistance point up in the 165s. Tesla reported, and Elon did say he plans on moving on from Doge, although he will stay affiliated with it. Bulls there will need to clear high of day at 259.45. If they can do that, I think they could make a move up to the 50 MA, probably the 274.69-ish area, which was, of course, reversal day high. if we do break down below low of day at 244.43, obviously the gap will fill to 237.79, and I do think we could retest those 214 lows rather quickly. On the upside though, I think that 271 area could pose resistance again, but if it does clear over the earnings day high day, I think we will make a move up to the 291s for the triangle fill, to the 327 reference high. Gold, talked about that reversal, opening on the highs, closing on the lows on a big volume reversal day. It is up in the after hours. We did hold the 10 MA. I told you if you didn't catch the exact top, we'd have a higher low before the real danger starts. I do like trimming gains into pops here in gold. It has run quite a bit. We did get our big 2.618 at 316.65, and I don't want to overstay our welcome here in the game of musical chairs. As far as Bitcoin goes, we had talked about rotating into that. So far, so good. I actually booked today up on the open. It is testing some key support here at 92,403. If that fails, we could see a move back down to 89,020 to 88,214, and then we'd see, because that was the prior resistance, that may be support. On the upside, the next big resistance zone comes in at 95,705 to 96,591. I do like trimming into these levels because we are in a responsive market, not necessarily an initiative one. I think another run at 100K is likely at some point, but that probably will get sellers at least initially, because if you did buy the dip, why not sell 100K? I think one of the reasons for the sell-off intraday today were interest rates. They basically opened on the lows and closed on the highs. Bulls and TLT will need to clear the 20 MA at 88.92, and for good measure 89.07. I have an alert above that. If that can clear, maybe we make a run into the 90s. I do think the 200 MA will be resistance now, so if you're doing some kind of a call spread, 92 is a good upside strike. Keep an eye on the Dixie. Anything above 99s keeps the look below and fail in play, and I think eventually can make a move back up into the 103s. It may take time, but as long as 99s holds, it's fine. Generally speaking, markets are in a responsive trading mode. 20 MA has been a short when it is breached after clearing on the upside. So a move up and then back below becomes a short. Anything above the 20 MAs, we remain bullish with long potential. Anything below, I think it's flat to short. Like and follow for more.